Senator Sorenson's shoes, I would have submitted far more, whatever we want to call this information. We have a statement from Wells Fargo Bank, but we have no statement from Bank One or the Farmers Savings Bank or whatever. We have no idea how many checking accounts the bank has. I have more than one. I assume he does as well. So that's a gray area out there for me. It's not totally clear. Had I been sitting in his chair with the same allegations brought against me, I would have submitted my income tax statement because it would have been pretty clear, what had happened. But that didn't happen, so for that reason, I have no problem with moving forward with asking for an investigation. And you know what? I hope that investigator comes back and says he's as pure as the driven snow. That's what I want. But there's going to be a cloud over this entire chamber if we don't attempt to get to the bottom of this. To say, well, there isn't enough and it's really good, by golly, we've got a reputation of this chamber for many years to come at risk, and I think the only conscionable thing to do is to move this forward and allow a special investigator to take a look at it. And like I said, I hope to God that they come back and say they find nothing for this committee to deal with and we can dismiss it all. That's what I want to have happen.
Thank you. Senator Dearden.
Well, 100% agree with you, Senator Greiner. But getting back, if this would have been some Democrats that were making these charges and, it looked like it was extremely partisan, I'd have said, I'm not really one special investigator. This sounds like, a little bit of a witch hunt, and there's people messing with me. But these are reliable people within the Republican Party that are making these charges. I think that's really the point with me, that these people are putting their reputations on the line to make these. I know a lot of partisan people in the Democratic Party, and they obviously would. No one I know would go out and try to make a false statement to try to hang another Democrat. It just wouldn't happen. So that's the reason I feel none of us have the investigative skills here to do that. And I really believe that it needs to be investigated. It has to be. They seem extremely serious charges. And that's the reason I made the motion. And I hope we can, I agree with Senator Greiner. I hope it comes up to no length. I hope there's nothing wrong. Because when something happens to one of us, it happens. But then we're all painted. We're all senators that are painted. And I would love to see that just come back and say, this man is innocent, drop all the charges. That would make me feel great. But if we don't pass this on a little further, I think if people are going to look at it and say, well, those darn politicians, they did it again. They covered up for one of their own.
Senator Whitver, do you have
And I completely agree with you. The last thing that I want to do is cover up something that could be a violation of ethics. I think, I'm not saying that he did any of this or did do it. I have no idea. But I think the problem is we're in a gray area between there's hard to dismiss these charges because they're serious charges, but there's also, from my view, very, very little evidence to send it forward. And so what do we do? I don't know. I think the concern I have is we're setting a very, very low bar to send these cases forward. And if we're going to set that bar very low, the next time there's a charge, any affidavit saying Senator whoever took money, it's gone right to the investigator, no matter what they bring on the other side. I think that's my concern, is we're setting a dangerously low precedent to open up someone's life to a full investigation. And I just hope it applies to all of us when there's a future.
See, I kind of look at it that we're setting the bar higher because we're first in the nation. And we want Iowa politics as clean as it can possibly be. Don't want any loopholes or anything. We want it clean. And if we would drop this case right now, I would see that there's doubt everywhere, especially government. Even though there's not, it can be covered in the press and stuff. But what are we covering up? And we're not covering up anything, and we're trying to get through this. And if we have an investigator, if he's innocent, he's innocent. There's no question about it. And but we don't have that cloud over the Senate saying, hey, we covered up some stuff. We have a motion before us.
And you have a second.
We have a second. Okay, we have a motion before us. How shall we vote? Short form, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
No.
No, aye? Okay.
Let's have a roll.
Roll call.
Senator Moore.
Aye.
Senator Dearden.
Aye.
Senator Greiner.
Aye.
Senator Behn.
No.
Senator Singh.
Aye.
Senator Whitver.
No.
And Senator Dearden